Hi there. If you're receiving this video, I want to start by thanking you for being part of the Revolution School of Thought community. School of Thought started as a learning community for community builders around change and education. We seek to connect people and ideas to amplify our work and the work of others in this wave of change, and to build resources through gatherings, through our blog, through our podcast, and make big ideas usable. One way we do that is through gathering, and this year we're engaging in the creating of a program with the Pennsylvania Association of Independent Schools. The gatherings are focused on bringing a shared culture of research to practice, inspired by the work of Priya Parker, who reminds us that the way we gather matters. The original inspiration for this work is the fact that research just frequently doesn't make it to practice. We're really interested in collective re-envisioning, in framing problems as opportunities, especially in education. We wonder why research doesn't make it to practice. The challenge tends to be that researchers just don't prioritize the users, and we want to create a space, reflect, and involve all of the partners to think about why accessibility, interpretability, and usability are an afterthought. They suffer when we don't bring these cultures together, and we believe there are many authentic, beautiful, and inspiring ways to connect. So our solution is to gather this year in purposeful ways around creating a shared culture of research and practice to both influence the work of practitioners and of researchers in creating and catalyzing change in education. One of the ways we believe we can do that is through something called the FAIR method. And the idea is that the research that we provide in our gatherings is free, accessible, interpretable, and ready to use. What we want to do is make these ideas usable. We also believe in elevating the unique roles we all play. We share the privilege of being in this conversation and ensuring that we have space for shared voice. And finally, our gatherings are framed with the use of visuals. This is based on a framework I developed, IDEA. The I stands for inclusivity, as visuals bring more inclusivity to the access to messages. Durability, messages that are shared through visuals tend to be more durable. They also encourage emotion. They allow us to feel through some of the ideas that things written in text sometimes don't. And finally, visuals tend to influence behaviors and actions. So we believe in the use of visuals for our gatherings. And there's an article accessible here to read more about this idea. So the School of Thought gatherings that we're hosting for PAIS have the purpose of gathering to ask questions about research and practice, to learn from and with one another, in recognition that professional learning or professional development is not an event, it is a community. The features of our gatherings are inspired again by The Art of Gathering, How We Meet and Why It Matters by Priya Parker. Priya Parker discusses 4 elements of effective gatherings that include priming, ushering, gathering, and continued connection. And so those 4 pieces are elements of our gatherings. We'll start by talking about priming. And priming really is defined as that moment that an individual hears about a gathering. It is the invitation. It is the talk. It is that very first touch point. Some of the ways that we also prime our gatherings include things like co-creator videos, ways to say hello to the individuals, to connect as humans before we physically connect live. We also encourage, before gatherings, kinds of creative polling, crowdsourcing question and answer, and I am very happy to create visuals for all of that work so that we can share out and begin to engage in ideas even before we engage physically or virtually together. And finally, we love the idea of asking individuals questions, even involving them in the questions. And this is an example of something that was done for a gathering that we had on a Padlet. The second element of our gatherings that frame the School of Thought program is this idea that Priya Parker shares of ushering. Ushering individuals into an event include those first elements of getting the feel, getting the mood as you walk into an event. Things that are shocking, things that are surprising, things that are interesting. Ushering also grounds us in how we're feeling, in recognition that we're human, we're coming together and looking to ensure we're checking in with one another, especially this year. Knowing where we were in any given moment was really important. Ushering also includes provoking. So this idea of really gathering to think about the purpose of school and providing a visual to get us all into this idea. And then there's the gathering. And a typical agenda for gathering will really involve connecting with one another, a kind of interactive lab talk, and coming together for action. These first gatherings will be virtual, so the various and creative ways we've engaged this year will support the interactive, connective way that we take action in these big, usable ideas. And some of the ideas that we are going to be covering in our series include student agency, the ungrading movement, measuring well-being, ideas around creativity, and missions, not majors. And finally, we believe in the idea that professional learning involves the creation of community. So connection is really important, and continued connection will happen through our School of Thought blog, which we would love to feature the work of the gatherings to include either before or after or both. We will also be engaging in the creation of a podcast with partners at Consider Anew, and this micro podcast might include the featured guests and co-creators from our gatherings or others that are in this work, so we can continue to work on these messages together. So our solution is really to create this culture of research and practice by gathering in purposeful ways, ensuring that the work that we're sharing in our gatherings is free, accessible, interpretable, and ready to use, elevating the unique roles of the individuals in our work, and supporting this with visuals that provide another literacy, another point of access. Thank you so much.